I took a Percocet.
This is Zanaya.
It's the righteous vigilante Jamon Creek, and you're tuning in to Minds Wide Open. Hey, yo, check it out. This is Namestream.
Never mainstream.
You're tuning in to Minds Wide Open Media.
Shout out to the Florida Vibe Directory. You are now listening to the best playlist in South Florida.
Yes, sir. You already know what time it is, man. This is the Florida Vibe Directory. We are back with another episode. 2 episodes in one day. We motherfucking working out here, man. Today, I have a motherfucking legend in the building. Of course, celebrating 10 years of the Believers album. Getting ready to hit the motherfucking road on tour. The 30th is the first show?
Yes, sir, it is.
The 30th, the
April
first
30th.
show.
Yes, sir.
Ladies and gentlemen, I have the legendary Nomms305 in the motherfucking building.
Thank you for having me, bro. Appreciate
Nah, man,
it.
thank you for coming through, my G. How you feeling, first and foremost?
I'm feeling good, feeling great, man. Can't complain.
I love to hear. hear it. So 10 years, man. 10 years. So this is MayDay's debut album, Believers.
Well, no, actually, this is actually the second album from signing on to Strange. The first one was Take Me to Your Leader, but the actual first album was a self-titled album called MayDay. I mean, at that time, I wasn't part of MayDay yet, but... Yeah.
So before we get too deep into that, I say we start all the way from the beginning.
Okay.
So, you know, where are you from? Where did you originally grow up?
Okay, so I'm from Venezuela.
Okay.
Okay,
Un
migrated
chamo.
here. Yeah, un chamo, yeah. De La Guaira, Maiquetía, pa mi gente, tú sabes.
Yes, sir.
And then migrated here 94, 95.
Okay.
And to make the long story short, man.
Make the long story long.
To
That's
get
what
to
we're here
MayDay.
for.
All right, to get to MayDay,
No,
right?
No, too far.
Oh, okay.
So you got here in 94, 95.
Yeah.
How big of a culture shock was it from Venezuela to America? Did you come straight to Florida? Did you go to like New York, anywhere?
No, I came straight to Miami, and yeah, it was a huge culture shock. Well, actually, before that, I was actually like we would vacation here, so it wasn't like this like out of nowhere we moved. So I kind of was familiar by the time we moved, but yeah, it was definitely completely different.
So this is like peak like Uncle Luke era that all this shit's going on. So you're seeing all the crazy shit as soon as you get here.
Dude, yeah, I'm seeing that. I'm seeing like the Tupac and the freaking, like the Biggie thing happening, 96, 90, 95, 96, 97, all that. So yeah, it was that kind of like, that was the era, that was the environment.
That peak. So
that was that vibe, yeah.
when you were already listening to hip hop before getting to America, or you found it all here?
Nah, man, I found it all here actually.
And what was like the first artist that you discovered?
Dr. Dre.
Okay, so
West Coast hip hop. To be honest with you, I don't know why, but it was like a thing I gravitated towards. Now that being Venezuelan, it was like a thing that it just made me move, man. Which eventually later led me to really get into that music through dance and all that stuff. But we'll talk about that later.
Right. Yeah. So you get here, you're listening to the Chronic, and then is that like
actually was the Chronic?
So is that what you used to like learn English and kind of learn the American way, was like the music, or like how did you get acclimated to America?
I mean, I don't want to attribute the music to me learning English, to be honest, because it's always been being a musician. I don't know why I kind of like gravitated more towards like the overall sonics of it. But acclimating to being here was just like really like the school and like friends, and luckily that's another thing. I had a lot of bilingual friends, so it's like, I could ask questions and all that stuff and blah 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 and all that. So
real cool. Yeah. So your formative years, like like the high school years and like the early 20s, like what was that like for you?
Bro, that was baseball. That was freaking. I was doing that. I was dancing actually. Right. That's another thing. So that's when I feel like. I was about to say when I said to get to MayDay, I wasn't gonna like skip away, but I was like, this was like a pivotal moment because I feel like hip hop culture through like, well, I don't want to like say whatever, like break dance,
like the 5 elements,
the 5 element joint, exactly. I came in like that, you know what I'm saying? So then I started b-boying, and that was like the high school time. It was like mainly like centered in breaking, learning how to pop, going to other schools and battling.
Shit.
Because back then, no social media like that or whatever. So it was all like, yo, you heard about this, dude? You heard about that, dude? Let's go over there. Let's go over here and bam, bam. So we would literally go to like battle other schools.
Damn.
Yeah.
Like breaking?
Yeah, after school. We would go over there and be like, yo, who's this? Who's that? Like, meet me at your whatever cafeteria or whatever it is. Yeah. Now, it was actually at the schools. We'd be like, nah. Where do you guys practice at after school? And we would just show up at their practices and battle.
Damn. Cardboard and all?
Or no usually like we would do like, to be honest with you, it was either like an auditorium, a cafeteria, like something like that, you know what I'm saying? But actually at that time, people were already like, yo, we found a spot, you know what I mean, in the school that's like dope, and we could like practice and all that stuff.
That's fire as fuck.
Yeah.
So what was like the b-boy culture like during that time in Miami?
Dude, it was fire. It was super cool. A lot of crews were active. I feel like Miami, especially at that time, was highly influential. And when you look at what occurred later, it proved it. But I mean, highly influential, I mean like the styles that were being born in Miami or in South Florida as a whole, that you could see the influence now throughout the world, you know?
Right.
So there was a lot of crews. It was like really active. It's like really active, yeah.
So to this day, could you still do some moves, or like you're like fully retired?
Actually, funny enough, on this Saturday, I'm about to actually perform.
Nah, you're gonna.
Yeah. I'm about to do a little comeback real quick.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
You've been stretching, huh?
Yeah, a little stretchy stretch. You know what I mean? No, but it's funny that like I feel like it's something that, you know, at this point doesn't leave. It's like it's kind of in there, but you know what I'm saying? Exactly. Yeah, the body does.
You know, you gotta get a little limber.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. So from dancing, how did you transition into like actually like composing music and like making beats and?
Yeah, so it's crazy because of dancing, and I'm gonna give you like crew names and shit. Because of dancing, I started off. Okay. I started off with my first crew was Boogie Squad, which was like a popping crew, and then certain members had to go. You know, out of like they just moved. Especially our main guy at that time, Malco Boogie. Shout out to Malco Boogie. You know, thank you for everything.
Yes, sir.
He ended up going to New York for work and all this other stuff. So at that time, we were like, man, what do we do? This and that. So I was just popping by myself with other homies. And then some of the homies from that crew ended up in another crew called Unique Styles. Mm-hmm. So then eventually I joined Unique Styles. And that's when I meet Felix and Max, rest in peace, and the rest of the crew. And we started Fusic, right? So Fusic is a band that we started at the time because we were like, yo, so a lot of this music is basically like James Brown and other songs, which are amazing songs, but we realized that they were like already like, you know, from back then. So we were like, man, what if our contribution would be to create music
new
break beats and stuff like that. We're gonna be a live band, and shout out to Catalyst that like they gave us a platform and a place where they were throwing jams constantly. Okay, so Catalyst Hip Hop is a place that was basically hosting hip hop nights. You know, like Tuesday and Thursday.
One of the few, or was there like a lot of different spots?
Nah, that was the spot. It was like, yo, like some people would describe it as like Step Up, but like for real.
Damn.
You know what I mean? Like you walk in and you're like, oh, it's a room of b-boys, and the other room has poppers, and then you go downstairs and there was like graph writers like practicing their stuff, and you got kids with black, and then you got another MC, like you got an MC cypher, and they're battling.
That's
like,
fucking fire.
No, the elements were active, you know, and shout outs to Catalyst for being one of those places, and it was all free.
Damn, so you would just show up there?
You would just show up there, and that's where like I actually met Unique Styles. I met other crews, and that was a pivotal and very important place for people to meet and gather. Wow. It was one of those spots, bro.
That like, yeah, it sounds like, yeah. I mean,
it was crazy. It was crazy. And like, you know, after COVID, unfortunately, like, you know, things had to change, but it is going to come back. You know, they did have several locations.
So they've been active from then all the way until COVID.
They've been active since like, bro, I want to say like 03, 01. Mm-hmm. You know, all the way to COVID.
Wow.
Still active, but, you know, just now relocating.
Right. That's crazy.
But that was exactly. So now you know that was a moment that was like where I met Unique Styles, where I met people, where I battled people that are like, you know, family now and all that stuff. And then we were like, yo, let us play. You know what I'm saying? Let's Fusic play. Eventually we started playing, getting into the circuit in South Florida, this and that, blah, blah, blah. And we ended up opening up for MayDay. Mm-hmm. So in one of those, it was like, oh, and I had a mutual friend, Rudy Goblin.
Mm-hmm.
And at that time, they were like, oh, some members are going to get out, some members are going to move, this and that, blah, blah, blah. And I remember it was at 305 Kitchen, right? And I don't even think that place is not even like a thing anymore.
Wow.
But that's when they asked me, and they were like, yo, it was actually Plex that asked me. He was like, yo, why don't you come through and practice? You know what I'm saying? Like, we're thinking about, like, you know, maybe, like, there's a gig or something, and maybe you should come in and blah, blah, blah. And
Because they wanted you to go in there and play the bongos.
yeah, they want me to play the congas, and they were like, oh, you know, we're making some moves, you know, blah, 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 all this stuff. So just looking for a percussion player, you know, see what's up, and then, like, see if it works out. And, bro, it was, like, instant. It was, like, one of those things that occurred. So for a little bit, you know,
You were in both groups.
Yeah, but eventually, you know, it happened fairly quick for me. It was like I joined 2009, 2010, end of 2010. I'm signing
A record deal.
Yeah.
Damn. So take me to that day. Take me to that day. Like, were you nervous?
Man. Honestly, bro, it was happening kind of like so fast, you know, because before that, we had done like this Lil Wayne music video and like all this stuff, and like Young Money was in the talks and all this stuff.
They were trying to sign MayDay?
Yeah. There was like all these situations occurring, which I think helped.
Hold on, let's not fast forward. Let's not just grease over that right there. Hold on. I see something good here. So before we get to the actual signing, what was the courting process like of like people reaching out, inquiring about you guys, trying to sign you guys? Did you guys get like a lot of free shit sent to you guys and things like that, or?
I don't want to say it like that. It wasn't that environment, but there was a buzz, and I will say, and I would attribute obviously the hard work of MayDay, because I joined like just strictly musician. Like, I'm just here as a musician. The machine was already running for years, so I'm just like, you know, soaking up game.
Right.
So I wasn't super involved in like
The negotiations.
Yeah. Not at that time, man. It wasn't my place.
Right.
You know. So, but yeah, I would hear about like Young Money and like, oh, we're gonna have our manager is having a meeting with certain people from the label, and then that's when we met. T-Pain pulled up on like one time on us, and
Damn.
It was an arts center. And we're performing or opening up for Nas and one of the Marleys.
Holy shit.
Like when they were doing.
Oh, okay. When they dropped Distant Relatives.
Yeah, it was a long time ago, bro.
Distant Relatives.
So you know, it's funny, bro. It's funny to say that because we're in the dressing room, we just performed, boom, 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 and T-Pain walks in, and he's like, "Yo, what up?" And like, I don't know what it was. It was the moment of shit, and I was just like, "Yeah, what up, T?" You know what I'm saying? I was like, "Yeah, what up, T?" So, you know what I'm saying? Like in the moment,
like,
you know. But it was cool. It was cool.
Yeah.
You meet Damien too?
But nah. But I remember like after like it happened and like thinking about it, I was like, oh shit, I was fucking like.
With T-Pain type
I was
shit.
T-Pain, bro. It took me a little bit to process it a little bit. I was like, oh yeah, what's up, T? You know what I'm saying? Boom, boom, all right, cool. And then like he walks out and shit. Oh wait, that was fucking.
That was
So it was a cool buzz, man. It was a cool buzz happening, and I think that's they actually appeared. For some reason, I forgot why I couldn't make it to that music video, but they appeared on T-Pain's music video.
Wow. So I know that you mentioned that it wasn't necessarily your place when it comes to like business conversations.
Sure.
But how did you guys know that Strange was the move to go with?
Man, I honestly at that time I had no idea who Strange Music was. Nobody did. It was just
So you guys
perhaps
didn't-
the
you guys
right
didn't
deal.
know?
No, I didn't.
You didn't know Tech at all?
Bro, I'll tell you a funny story about Tech too. Like meeting him, I didn't know who he was. Like I kind of like was like, I was just thrown into this world, you know. And then I remember meeting him at a meet and greet, and like him coming up to me or something like that, and I was like, oh yeah, what's up? Like I met him at like, you know, regular, like, yo, what up? Boom, 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 boom. And then I go back and they're like, yo, that was Tech. And I was like, oh, that's Tech. Like I wasn't familiar.
Because you've been
you know?
hearing his name and then
Yeah, I've
talking
been
about
hearing
him.
his name and things like that, but I didn't have a face to the name yet. You
Right.
know? But yeah, man, it was I don't know. I guess it was just like the right situation, the right time. And looking back, I would say there was definitely benefit as far as like creatively and
The freedom that they
the
had,
freedom.
because that was like the early era of strange music.
Yeah, bro, and it was like, and that's another thing that, like I said, bro, for me happened fast, bro. It was like 2009, 2010, things are happening, and I'm doing this video, and boom, and this and that. My first music video, actual like official music video as a musician and all that stuff. And then by the end of 2010, there's a contract. 2011, we're on a bus.
Damn. So did you ever have like a regular job?
Yeah, at some points. But I feel like I've been like always like hustling in entertainment.
Right,
But
right.
I've had like, a fleet credit card. I did like, what's that thing called? Like when you're on the phones.
Oh, like call center type thing.
Yeah, call center shit.
Okay.
I did that. What else? I worked for the Miami Heat for a little bit
Okay.
as like a dancer kind of thing. That's another thing. I've also had like a lot of dancer
Gigs and things
gigs.
like
Yeah,
that.
before the whole MayDay thing. That's another thing. At that time I was competing as a dancer. I was touring with Gloria. Like not touring so much, like touring, but
When she
I
would
was
do
doing a lot of
shows?
shows with Gloria Stefan.
Wow.
And, like I did stuff with Jose at that time.
Wow.
I was like doing things,
So you were kind of already on that path, and then like once you.
It's crazy, yeah, man. I guess I was. You
Wow.
know? I guess I was like from the get,
So let's go back to the day where you signed the contract.
Boom.
So you get there, like it was in Miami that you guys did it, or was it like?
Yeah, it was in Miami, the Miami Beach.
And like, how did you feel? Like, how did you feel when you were getting ready to sign that?
Bro, I mean, think about it. It's just like, wow, like, okay, especially like coming from Venezuela, bro. Like,
Right.
Like realizing, like, oh snap, like
This is real. Like
this is really happening. There's a real like paper contract in front of me, Skyping with managers.
boom.
Boom.
And then once that happened, like, how did your life change after that?
I mean, bro, I would say that like it changed. Yeah, it changed dramatically as far as like not just like. For one, yeah, you feel like okay, we're here, we're actually doing this now. You know what I'm saying? There's no like balancing it out. You have to actually like go in all the way. And yeah, you're just the perspective, the experiences, being able to like. Now that you're taking me back, it's taking me back to the feeling of the first tour.
Wow.
Of like sitting in the front of the bus and going through like New Mexico or like Arizona or those places, and you're like, yo, like these are like, they really do look like clay, and like
How they
like,
look in the
what I'm saying?
books.
Like yeah, like it's really like this, and having that paradigm shift,
Right.
of seeing the country for what it is,
So before we get to the first tour, you being not, I guess you would say like an original member of MayDay, was there ever like situations where like it was like growing pains of like you kind of having to like be the new guy for a little bit before like you like became that?
Oh my God, yeah, absolutely. I would say that like not growing pains so much, but yeah, they actually definitely growing pains. But definitely wasn't like, there was a balance of like not giving it too easy, work for your shit now too, but at the same time like not necessarily like completely shying you away from it.
Gotcha.
Like I feel like now that I'm producing, you know what I'm saying, especially producing in MayDay, I've had MayDay records and stuff like that now, versus where I was just like, what is producing?
Right.
When I joined?
Right.
I always thought it was like magical, and like I was like, yo, it'd be great to like do it, but not at that time. I didn't come into the band. That's another thing I had to learn later on. I didn't come into the band like, yo, I got mad beats. I got mad, like, it was just like, nah, like my role is on stage. Because on stage, I was doing freaking conga solos or whatever, but I was breakdancing on it.
Oh, shit.
And I was popping on there. I was doing a popping solo up there. And I was breakdancing. Wow. And I was like doing, you know what I'm saying? Like, bro, I did that. Remember the first time we got signed? Or because here's another thing that I missed out when I met Tech. The reason why I met Tech at the meet and greets because we had 2 shows to do. He wanted to see us. So we were like, all right. One was in Fort Lauderdale, one was in Orlando. They were like, you got 10 minutes. Okay. So another thing about performing in Miami is that at that time, it was like competitive in the sense of like, you got to do a show. So that's why I was breaking. That's why I was popping. There was one thing that like we would do that we would switch like instruments. Like the bass player would go to the keys, the bass player comes to the congas. I go out and dance. One of the MCs goes to it was like this switcheroo thing. Oh my bad.
Now you're good.
This switcheroo thing, right?
Right.
But anyway, we added that solos, breaking, all this stuff, all the freaking everything in 10 minutes.
Wow.
And I remember his name is Scenario. He was like, yo, I remember seeing him on the side, and then the next day, I guess he, put in a great wording for us, and Tech showed up to the side.
Wow.
Dude, the first, bro, it's all taking me back. Like
the
first signature that I signed, not knowing what to do, and this shows you a lot about how humble Tech is, was actually Tech.
Wow.
He came with a CD that we were giving out at that time.
And he wanted
called Stuck on an Island.
Wow.
No, he came right off stage. I'm getting off. I'm like, yo, we killed that. And he's like, yo, can you sign this?
Wow.
And I was like, what? Like, what do you mean? What do you mean?
Like, you're fucking Tech. What?
Yeah, like, no, but at the same time, I'm like, I was also so, like,
in all that somebody would even want.
Yeah, exactly. There you go. I was also
you didn't have it like an autograph you would say or
nah,
like
bro. I didn't even know how to autograph, so I was just like, yo, I'm just doing my tag.
Mm-hmm.
And that became that's actually what I still sign to this day.
That's fire as fuck.
It was the hip hop tag because I was like, yo, I got a rep. At that time, it's just like so like.
No, and that's the thing is like, bro, like this conversation right now is like so important just because like you're really giving like the real history of hip hop in Miami. Mm-hmm. And it's like, I feel like a lot of times we just see what it is now, where it's like, like these kind of different types of shows. But, bro, these 5 elements are the reason that I'm sitting here, the reason you're sitting here.
Absolutely.
The reason this is even a fucking YouTube channel is because of hip hop. So it's like, I'm glad that now we're getting to the point where people are respecting it more. Because,
yes.
it was like to a point where like if you were like hip hop, it was kind of corny or whatever for a little bit.
Yeah, I could understand that.
But now it's like I feel like it's getting the respect that it deserves. But before we go too off into that,
okay.
So let's talk about the first tour. So this tour starts in New Mexico, and this is the Believers tour, or this is before Believers?
The first tour we've ever been on?
Yeah.
The first tour we've ever been on was actually a Tech 9 tour, the 2011 one.
Wow.
So I went straight on a bus. I'm like, what? The guys had done previous tours, more like van tours and things like that. So, But for me, that was my beginning. So I was just like, oh, snap, I'm on a bus, about to see the country. That's when I was telling you about like me sitting in the front and like taking footage of like the road, because it looked like so amazing to me, But that was an eye-opening tour. I was actually just speaking to someone about this, my boy Happy Colors, about a situation that occurred on that first tour.
Was there anything
it's about to get like, yeah?
Anything you could talk about, or?
I mean, yeah, I guess, but it was just like, for one, yeah, it was just like, at that time it was Stevie Stone, J-Rock from
TD?
TD, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he was signed to Strange Music before.
I had no idea about that.
Yeah, before he popped off. Actually, yeah, he was there. So we got to meet I got to tour J-Rock. I got to meet J-Rock. Shout out to J-Rock, the homie,
Yeah.
And yeah, bro, it was just like, I don't know if to like, it's just that something occurred on that tour that, someone passed. Damn. On that tour, unfortunately, due to like some ridiculous things, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But yeah, it just went down the wrong way, man. But it was just like, that was my introduction to the tour. That it could get that real, it could be that dangerous.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That someone can actually like hurt you and harm you.
Yeah, because every neighborhood got something,
Yeah, man. Yeah.
I always think about the DJ Quick song, Just Like Compton.
Mm-hmm.
Where it's like, it's really like that. Like everywhere you go, like you're just like, yeah, somebody's willing to die for this street.
Oh, man.
So you gotta kind of respect.
That's another thing. Yeah. That's another thing that the road does teach you is like, you gotta respect. We say, out of town, out of bounds.
Mm-hmm.
Out of bounds. Like
for sure.
Be careful where you're at. You know what I'm saying? You're only as good as the perimeter of whatever venue you're at and all that stuff. So
right.
So yeah.
So now moving forward from there.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, kind of take me to everything that happened after that first tour.
Man. After that first tour, the second one, the tour that we did was actually with the MGK at that time, the Wild Boy era.
So this is like 2011?
2012.
2012.
Yeah. So we do that. We keep on touring. That was a crazy tour. That was like it wasn't the on 6s and 7s. It was the Hostile Takeover tour.
Wow.
96 shows in 105 days.
Gosh.
Yeah. It was crazy.
It
was like,
yeah.
It was insane. And it was like,
paced.
it was like go, go, go. Exactly. It was like go, go. Sometimes you'll be like 30 shows, break for 2 days. Boom, keep going. Like it was show.
Wow.
And like, yeah, they were packed. It was crazy. It was the most eye-opening freaking situation, you know? Yeah, bro, that was definitely a tour that changed the dynamic of the band as well, you know? We went from being a full band at that time, MayDay, to becoming a 4-man suit, you know?
So some members had to go, like, or they just...
No, they just, you know, it was a time for them to do certain things, you know what I'm saying? Like, it didn't, like, fully leave, but it was just, like, you know, it's another thing about this stuff here, right? That it's, like, there's the studio aspect, there's the touring aspect, there's the merchandise aspect, there's the promoting aspect, you know? So, you know, you could stay in certain aspects at times. It wasn't necessarily, but the touring was just not.
It's a lot.
Nah, bro, yeah, like, I've learned also after all this time that, like, touring is not for everybody.
Right.
Like, once they realize that, like, oh, this is what it is, oh, I don't know if I could, like, do this.
So
for whatever separate, oh no, obviously everybody has.
What are some of, like, the unseen things that, like, you know, we don't see that, you know, requires to go on tour? Just things that you have to go through, because we see all these vlogs online where it's just like bitches, bottles, turn crowd, and
I mean, I ain't gonna lie, and I would be lying, but that does occur. It's part of it, because you have to understand this too. Isn't that thing that you learn that, like, it's Friday and Saturday every day
for you,
in a way, you know, and the fans are turned up at that time, and then you're like, oh wow, like, you know, and they, you know, sometimes it's like, oh, they want to give you. I mean, I'm not a drinker myself, but sometimes they're like, oh, you know, let's get a drink at the bar. So it's like this hype, like, you know, that vibe, and then the next day, the vibe, and the next
it's
day,
like, yeah,
the vibe, and the next day, the vibe. So it's just like,
it's easy to get caught up in it and just kind of.
Yeah, in a way, I would say absolutely. Not everyone though. There's definitely, like, different. Absolutely, like, right. It all depends on the person and what you're into.
Before I forget, I do want to ask this. I know that Strange Music, their fans are a little different. You know,
give it to me, bro. Give me the truth.
Like, no, you know,
give me your perspective, God.
No, all right. Like, when I think of, like, Strange Music fans, I think of, like, sort of the same ilk of, like, Juggalos. You know?
No,
like,
yeah, absolutely. Okay,
right.
100%.
So it's like, you know, it's a different type of fan base from what you're coming from. So did you like how was that to see, like?
That's another thing, bro. Okay, so yeah, actually, that's a great point, bro. So I'm getting thrown into this situation. So I have no idea who Tech Nine is, and you go into, like, the Strange headquarters, and you see this, like, crazy, amazing infrastructure built in, like, and you're like, yo, and then you're coming into these shows, and you're seeing, like, I had no idea about Juggalo community or anything like that at all, like. But so it was all like, that's what I'm saying, it was all like Strange Music, Tech Nine, oh, Kansas City, what? Boom, Juggalos, boom, and you're like, yo, we're just going.
Right.
I'm on this train, you know?
MayDay ever been to the gathering of the Juggalos?
Yeah, we've been there.
Oh, shit. Can we talk about it, please?
I mean, you already knew the answer.
Dude, I mean, shout out to the gathering of the Juggalos. It's definitely, like, once it's a unique experience for sure, bro. For sure.
I've heard a lot of stories.
And, like, the crowd, the love is dope, bro.
Whoop whoop.
Whoop whoop. Whoop, whoop. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. It's definitely a unique and amazing experience. The love that you get there, the crowd. You know, they might throw something at you, and that doesn't necessarily mean that they don't like you. That means that they actually fuck with you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They actually are like, yo, boom. You know what I'm saying? They might shoot a bottle rocket at you. You know what I'm saying?
And it's all, damn.
You gotta just do.
It's like the
yeah.
evolution Pokemon version of, like, a dead head. Like, the Grateful Dead, they
Uh-huh.
have that kind of fan base, and I feel like Juggalos are just the next level of.
I love Juggalos, man.
Nah, bro, definitely like, and the family aspect of it, bro.
Bro,
When they
that's
got
what
your
I'm
back, bro.
They got your back.
What?
What?
Yo, like, nah, definitely like, yo, bro, yeah, absolutely. Shout out to Juggalos.
Shout out to all the motherfucking Juggalos, man.
Yeah.
Now, where do I want to take it?
I just feel like y'all didn't appreciate the Deadheads era. I'm just saying, like, they,
You know what it was for me? I'm not fully familiar with
Grateful Dead.
yeah, not fully like that.
I honestly,
And I'm that guy. It sucks sometimes that I'm like in this music thing and people hit me with like exactly like what you were telling me about like, oh, Tech Nine and this. It's not that I was like, oh, it's just that I really like.
you.
I could sing you the melody of the song. I might not know who it is though.
I know exactly what you mean.
I'm that guy.
That's one of those communities that's like super loving and like
Oh,
accepting of people.
Yeah.
But they were the first original because they just followed the Grateful Dead around the country. And
Oh,
that's all
yeah,
they
okay.
did, you know? And
Gotcha.
Basically, were the people who brought acid to the country.
Oh shit.
Open up some minds.
Yeah, mine's wide open. Come on now. So, what's one of like the like strangest cities, no pun intended, that like you've done a show at or like been on a tour?
I don't know, to be honest, because I'm like trying to like really go in and like there's
Or just
nothing-
like a city that like they showed hella love that you were like surprised.
Oh man, shit. New Mexico, Albuquerque. The first time for me, Albuquerque, New Mexico. The love there is crazy.
I bet.
So amazing. The whole area, it's just like super sick. I would say like I would expect maybe somewhere in the East Coast based on our history or somewhere, but going out there in the middle and the country and then like seeing that is really dope.
Yeah, that's dope as hell, especially going on the whole other side of the country. Like
Yeah. On the West Coast, man. Shout out to the West Coast.
now, let's kind of get to something more in the present day.
Okay.
I know that you work with a lot of artists that I've personally fucked with, like
Mhm.
of course shout out to Dez
Of course.
and shout out to Nick Garcia too. Real
Yeah,
dope.
the
Like,
bros.
that-
Pinga.
that joint that y'all dropped was fire.
Oh, thank you.
Y'all dropped it like 2 weeks ago, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So how long you been working with Nick?
I've worked with Nick here and there. That was actually like a spur of the moment situation, that song got made. And shout outs to Palmer.
Yes.
We're actually coming from an event, and a bunch of us just went to the studio.
That was the singer on there.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, shout out to Palmer. He's actually about to drop something April 21st. This Friday.
Yeah,
I don't know when it's gonna drop. But
No,
you know what I'm saying?
it's,
Palmer.
It's live right now.
Oh, called Truth.
Yes.
I believe it's called The Truth.
Yes.
Yeah, April 21st is going down. Yeah.
So now,
Shout out to Palmer.
at what point did you decide, like, I'm gonna start watering like these plants of these upcoming artists here in like my city?
Man, I think it occurred about like maybe like 3 years ago. And it wasn't so much about like water. It wasn't coming from that perspective. It was more about like, yo, I just want to like, continue on. Obviously I have MayDay in the situation,
Of course.
But like I said, just to be all the way real, at that time, I felt like, okay, these are other producers that have been doing it obviously longer. I respect time. I respect, that. So I'm like, yo, I gotta get my chops up, as well. So I was just doing that, and then through that, we were doing like these b-boy records, going back to my boy Felix and stuff like that. And we were like, yo, man, we have these instrumentals. Let's just get rappers, So rather than reaching out to the rappers, I was like, hey, why not reach out to like local people that understand? It actually first started with like dancers, right? And actually before that, let me go take it all the way back. I had a session with this guy named Paxton Ingram. Okay. Actually, I have a record with him as well called On My Way, that I produced. And that was a great moment, like a great time for like learning the production and learning, like he's a great singer. But that was like, I would say the beginning of that, But I felt like also like as a producer, like I like collaborating outside of MayDay, obviously. MayDay is like freaking, those are like the teachers, you know what I'm saying? Those are like the guys that like I learned everything from,
Right.
A lot of it, So being able to go with other artists and learning from them as well, learning from those experiences and all that stuff. You know, it's just always refreshing, and I like that, man. I like, you know, like to always like keep my mind like refreshed
and just see what else is new, because sounds change. Especially I feel like when you're already like in it and you're like constantly on tour and things like that, you probably don't have time to listen to the new artist that's making noise. So
yeah, and for me, man, to be quite honest with you, I've learned that it's a vibe thing for me. You know, maybe it's the wrong thing, but
no,
like these are people that are genuinely like
you
really
like to be around.
Like, rock with. Yes,
Yeah.
I really rock with Des. I really rock with Jumpo. I really rock with Nick.
Shout out
I
to
really
Jumpo.
rock with, yeah, Jumpo as well, bro. Like even with that, right? Because of me doing stuff with Jumpo, now there'll probably be, you know, something happening with Jumpo and Burns of MayDay.
Oh,
And certain things are happening over here and there, you know? So, like, it's all
connected.
It's all kind of connecting, and that's beautiful to me, bro. Like, that is essentially, I like that. I like the idea of, like,
overlap.
Overlapping and, like, everybody, like,
Coming
boom,
together.
man, coming together. I'm not so much of, like, yo, we're going to be, like,
We're gonna
one guys. Nah, like, nah,
Right.
bro, let's all work together. You know what I'm saying? I don't think about one hit record. I think about 1,000 hit records,
Right.
if that's the case, you know. So, which is what occurred with Nick.
Right.
At that moment, we all came together, and I was just like, boom, Palmer, you play the guitar over here, play the guitar. That guitar is Palmer, that bass is Palmer, but it was just like, yo, then, and he came with the hook, and then Nick came with the hook, and I was like, oh, boom, boom. It was just about like curating the vibe at the moment, you know.
For sure.
You know.
What would you say is your legacy in this music shit?
Still writing it.
Up to now.
Oh, man. I don't even know. I would say that through percussion, which is what I do, I would say that people have told me, I suck at that too, at like being like, yo, this is, you know, but people have told me that, you know, I've played it in a different way, and an interesting way, an entertaining way. So I would say that definitely I've added, hopefully, and which I still need to add more. Hopefully I've added through that.
Trick you out of your humility, like.
Yeah, no, you on the floor, the vibe director. You gotta pop your shit.
Nah.
This is not the time to be humble.
Yeah.
I get a sense of what you're saying, but.
Yeah, this is always something I get. People are like, yo, man, you're a little too like. Nah, but yeah, I would say percussion through dance.
You're a monster, aren't you?
Monster. God, shout out to Monster Music.
Yeah.
Shout out to the sponsor, Monster Music.
Yes,
yeah.
sir.
Sponsor of MayDay.
Yes,
You know.
sir.
Shout out to them. But yeah, I would definitely definitely try to give that vibe, the monster vibe. I try to give it my all, my freaking 3,000% up there. So hopefully people understand that. People understand that I give my energy. I give it all, like, in dance too. Versatility, hopefully.
Yeah.
That's part of the legacy too. He wasn't just producing. He wasn't just playing percussion. My dude was dancing
No,
too
and
and battling.
That's the one thing
and
too. Like talking to you here is like just a very hip hop story. Like you get what I'm saying? Like this is some shit that honestly it could be a movie. Like from the conversation that we had here, like yo, you coming from Venezuela, learning America, finding dance to playing the congas.
Dude, I'll be honest with you. Now that we're gonna say that, I sometimes don't. I'm like, yo, I'm playing percussion. Like, it makes me like exactly when I take it all the way back from like, because of me liking hip hop and getting into this crew and then getting into this crew and then learning this thing in this band, and because of this band and everything leading, it all began really through hip hop culture.
Exactly.
100%. But even before that, one thing that I forgot to mention. So, in my family, my mother was a choreographer. My mother was a dancer, kind of like. So, I saw that from birth. And my uncle, rest in peace, had a band, a family band. So, I was around instruments. I was playing percussion like this. I was playing the congas like this as a baby.
Wow.
You know? So, to like say that, like,
You took both of their dreams and took it this far?
not in a way. So, not I wasn't saying so much of that, but then, damn, in a way, yeah, but like, it was like such a thing that I was around that I was like, oh, I'll never like make this into like, this will never like, you know, actually happen. Like, you know what I mean? It's one of those things that you're like, oh man, like this is just like playing and dancing and stuff. And like and boom.
Now you're here.
But I feel like it was like an energy thing. Like meant to. I don't know.
No, I mean, bro, the way that you told this story from start to end, it sounds like something that is mystic, something that had to happen. But before we get off of the subject of percussion,
All right.
who were some of your influences like when it comes to that? Or like did you like you say that you have your own style, but like was there like somebody that like was influencing you?
Family. Honestly, I never had like. I never was like YouTube this and YouTube. My uncle,
Name
Pepe, we call him Pepe.
One time for Pepe.
My other uncle Pablo, that he was a percussionist. People from my neighborhood in Venezuela, Antonio, Jose. So that's another thing. I had like okay. So my uncle's band was called El Parrandón Guaireño.
Ooh.
Right? Parrandón, like, And we created a band.
translation over here.
We called the band called, we had a band called La Parrandita Guaireña.
Wow.
Which is all little kids.
Wow.
So we would go in kindergarten. I remember kindergarten, first grade, second grade, because in third grade is when I came here. Like the end of the year parties are different in Venezuela, so they're like open. They open like all the classes, like all the different grades are like intermingled. So I would be like, yo guys, they're having a party this day. I would bring the whole band, and we were going from classroom to classroom, second grade, third grade, fourth grade, playing and performing. Yeah. So then we would do that over there. We would like, that was like our games. We would play and be like, yo, what are we doing today? Oh, today we're going to do parranda, whatever. Okay, so let's go to every house in the neighborhood, knock on the door, and be like, can we play some songs for you?
Yo.
Straight up. That's how we did it.
So
that's what I'm saying. To have that upbringing and to look at it like, oh, it's just a game.
To where you're at now.
And to actually like think, I toured this country so many times and like all that stuff kind of blows my mind.
It is fucking crazy, bro. I mean,
yeah, bro.
This is a very necessary story that needed to be told. Now, of course, before we get up out of here, I'm just going to ask you couple random questions.
Sure.
Just to kind of talk some shit here, shoot the shit.
Shizzle.
So what's one spot that, like, on tour, like, that, like, you're like, yo, when I go to this city, I need to go to, like, this one specific food spot? Like, what is it?
Ooh, food. Man. It wasn't so much a touring, bro, but Kansas City, bro. Jack Stacks.
Jack Stacks.
Jack Stacks, bro.
Yo.
That's just what came to mind, like right away, Because another thing, when I go to different places, there are some spots that I'm like, oh yeah, but I like to explore it. I like to be like, oh, what am I gonna eat this time?
Like you don't like to just have like a regular spot.
You had a good guide, right? Like
the what?
A good guide. You knew where the right shit was.
Yeah, for sure.
So the shows in Kansas City are just, they have to be like what, the most lit ones, right?
Some of them are. Some of them are cool. No, but actually we definitely have like, a fan base and stuff like that. We've done shows with Tech 9 at the Power and Light.
Because before this tour, you guys were on tour with Wax, right?
Yeah, that was fire.
So what
Wax, shout out to Wax, the broskies.
What's working with Wax like?
Super cool. Super freaking cool, bro. Super cool guy. Super funny. Yeah. And obviously talented. Extra talented.
Could spit like a motherfucker.
Huh?
A headlining tour?
Yeah, co-headlining. Yeah, so we would switch like.
Watsky or
his name is Wax.
No, but like with Wax. We talking about Big Wax?
Yeah, Wax.
I'm sorry.
No, it's.
Yeah, right.
I'm a fan of Big Wax. I was just curious.
Yeah. That's how I
Big Wax, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Same guy. Yeah.
From the Northeast, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, he's a Cali guy.
Is he a Cali
Yeah.
guy? I thought he was an East Coast guy.
Yeah.
Oh.
The one with.
We're talking about the same person.
Brother?
Yes, sir. Him.
Double T?
Him, 100%. Shout out to his twin brother too. Yeah. Super cool.
Yeah, no, I've been a fan for many years.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Him.
That's fire, man.
Mm-hmm.
So, Big Nomms, man, tell us what you got next, man.
Well, coming up, we have the tour coming up. That is the Believers 10-year anniversary tour. That is starting April 30th. Also going all the way to May 7th.
Ooh.
I believe that this is gonna be. So we selected a few cities to try and like test this out, but so far so good, and it's been very well received.
Mm-hmm.
So I think there's definitely going to be more cities in the future. Other shows coming up as well in July. We might be going back to the gathering of the Juggalos.
Yo, bring me with you guys, man. I need to be there reporting live.
And
man.
definitely be on the lookout for more music. More music coming, hopefully. You know what I mean? I know more music coming with Jumpo. More music coming with MayDay for sure. More music coming with Dez. You know, collaborations. You know, Dez maybe with someone from, you know, Strange Music.
Ooh.
You know.
Oh, hold on.
Maybe
Nah.
maybe.
Nah. Not my boy Dez. Hey, I see you now, Dez.
You know?
Come on now.
So yeah, it should be cool, man. Nah, but definitely just been in the studio getting it in, and like I think this is like release year. You know, last year was hibernation and creation and finishing the touches, but this year's gonna be out.
We're gonna be playing all them joints on Proximity FM. Any artist you want to send here to do an interview, man?
Absolutely.
Like, I got you.
Can you do a Spanish one?
Of course.
Get Jumpo in here.
Bring them on.
Yeah,
Bring them on. Yeah, exactly. We trying to expand. I speak Spanish.
Okay.
Yeah, come on now. You know, Dominicano hasta el fin. Come
Como plátano. Let's go.
All right. Now, I wouldn't be me if I didn't ask.
Okay.
Yo, can you give us like a little on the table?
Or like I'm trying to like. Con el flow.
Con el flow.
Ya
con
tú
el
sabes.
flow. Is there any?
But I gotta call out Gabe Belly for saying that wouldn't be me. I like you ever said that to anybody ever before.
Yo, first time, you know what I'm saying?
It was brilliant.
I needed the segue. That's what I needed, but I had to do that. Is there any like shout outs that you want to give to anybody in specific that's helped you get to where you're at now that, you know, we may have not talked about during the interview?
Shout outs to the whole MayDay crew, obviously. Every single one of them. Shout outs to everybody. Shout outs to our managers. Shout outs to Kether. Shout outs to Crazy Hood Productions. Shout outs to my boy EFN.
Yo, shout
That's
out
helped
to
us out a lot, big time. Shout outs to Andrea.
Damn, we didn't even talk about Beats in the Hood.
That's the broskies. Shout outs to shout outs to Beats in the Hood.
Yeah.
Shout outs to my boy Boris. Actually,
Yes.
I got some stuff coming on. Come on, man.
Come on now. Shout out
We've
to
been
the
working.
whole
We've been
Crazy
working.
Hood.
We've been working. Yeah. So shout outs to my boy Jumpo. Shout outs to the bro Happy Colors. Shout outs to actually May 19th, MayDay is gonna be playing at Gramps Winwood.
No way.
With DJ Colors. I mean DJ Colors. DJ Happy Colors is gonna be DJing, and Nick Garcia will.
Woo.
Okay, Nick Garcia.
Nick Garcia.
Coño, tremendo. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so that's gonna be fun. May 19th. Who else? Shout outs to my boy Felix. Shout outs to my boy Rudy Goblin. Shout outs to my boy Rack. Shout outs to everybody. If I missed, shout outs to my boy Aqua Boogie. Shout outs to Magic City Crew, my crew out there, Poppers. Shout outs to Flipside Kings. Shout outs to Unique Styles.
Yes, sir.
Shout outs to shout outs to my boy Kevin. Shout outs to Catalyst. Man, like where we going? Shout outs to my family. Shout outs to
Yo, shout out
those to everybody. And if I missed you, I'm sorry, but I love you. I really
bro.
do.
Noms, I appreciate you for coming in, bro. You came in with like a great energy, like really actually like rubbed off on me. Like I'm like I'm like excited as fuck hearing about this, bro, because like I love hip hop history. So it's like for me to hear it from somebody who was fucking there, like it's just like I'm like excited as fuck.
Yeah.
So I appreciate you coming through. I appreciate
I appreciate you having
all the
me, bro.
love that
For
you
real.
showed,
For
man.
real.
Y'all make sure y'all support this, man. Y'all make sure y'all support MayDay. Y'all make sure y'all support all the strange music. Anything that you see with Noms, just click on it because you know it's going to be motherfucking fire. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been the Florida Vibe Directory. I go by the name of Gabe Avelli. I need everybody to make sure that they like, comment, and motherfucking subscribe right now. If not, the man on the boards, Cool Hand Luke, is going to find you. Exactly.
Ya tú sabes.
Exactly. So we appreciate everybody, man. This has been the Florida Vibe Directory, Noms. We will bring you back soon. after the tour, probably a little update.
Okay, I can do that.
Maybe a couple other people in the seats.
Oof.
You know,
Let's get it.
We'll talk about it though.
Let's get it. Peace.
This is Zanaya.
It's the righteous vigilante Jamar Creek, and you're tuning in to Minds Wide Open. Hey, yo, check it out. This is Namestream, never mainstream. You're tuning in to Minds Wide Open Media.
Shout out to the Florida Vibe Directory. You are now listening to the best playlist in South Florida.